circus. I really wanted to be in the circus. And I was always really fascinated with history and like nostalgic things. Like, I mean, it's no secret, I'm obsessed with like the 60s and the 70s and stuff, but there's like an innocence that attracted me about that time. No offense to Australia, but I never felt like I belonged in Australia. And I don't know why. I think it was a mindset thing.
And when did you start like poker? Aren't you really good at it?
Yeah, damn, you did your research, girl. So when I was a teenager, we used to have poker games, like 3 nights a week in my house.
Hi, this is Lauren Engel. Today I'm here with KELSY Karter.
KELSY Karter, what's up?
But so you were born in New Zealand initially.
Yep.
But your dad's from LA.
Yeah, my dad's born and raised in Los Angeles, but he's kind of a pirate. He like left America at 19 and traveled the world, lived in 50 different countries. And I kind of did the same thing, but not 50 different countries. My mum says I'm just like my dad. So,
what drew him to New Zealand initially?
Oh, it was just the next stop. He'd lived in like South America and Europe, and his brother actually got murdered in Hollywood, and that's why he left America.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then my mum had an ad in the paper for a roommate in New Zealand. My dad answered it. And then they
started off living together.
They made
already.
love. Yeah. And then my dad didn't want to live in New Zealand. My mum didn't want to live in America, so we went to Australia. Yeah.
And your dad's like, is he a jazz? Is that his full-time job? Or I know he's really into like jazz and music and stuff.
Yeah.
And his whole family.
He's not a jazz musician now, but his whole family is they were jazz musicians. My uncle's still a touring musician. Insane. Yeah, the uncle that passed away was like a prodigy, like a jazz prodigy. So yeah, I was just brought up listening to all that kind of music. You know, it's just part of my repertoire as a child.
And did your mom do that as well, or?
My mum was probably more of like a conservative upbringing. My dad's Jewish, my mum's Catholic, and she had more of a classical music upbringing. But both sides of the family all play instruments and sing, and yeah.
Did you already feel like, when you were a kid, like a pressure to like join the whole musical clan?
Oh no, I was a theatre kid, so I grew up performing on stage in the theatre and as an actress, and I thought my whole life I'm going to be an actor. That's my dream. That's what I'm going to do. Can I swear?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do. And instruments, my dad put me into music lessons for flute, piano, drums, and to be completely honest with you, I fucking hated it. And I begged every day, please, I don't want to do this. I just want to be on stage. But it helped me now. It helps me now because I know music, and never thought I'd be a singer. Here we are, singing. So yeah, no, I never felt pressure. It was just, I was just from a very musical, theatrical family. So,
what made you love acting initially?
I don't know, man. It was just like, that's just what I was like, came out of my mum doing, I always had a very keen interest to join the circus. I really wanted to be in the circus. And I was always really fascinated with history and like nostalgic things. Like, I mean, it's no secret, I'm obsessed with like the 60s and the 70s and stuff, but there's like an innocence that attracted me about that time. And I saw movies with like the old circuses, and I just wanted to be part of that. I wanted to go back in time.
Were you always like watching it? Like, what were your favorite movies like growing up?
Edward Scissorhands was the number one movie that made me want to be a performer. Johnny Depp was like my like, I wanted to be Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
What's up, Johnny? Where you at? And then musicals. I mean, I was a big like theatre geek. Like, but Moulin Rouge was a big part of it. I love Moulin Rouge. Yeah. Girl Interrupted. They're like my 3 favorite movies.
Was like early on people told you about your resemblance to like Angelina Jolie? Do you think that sparked your acting?
No, I didn't really get that until I started straightening my hair. I have really curly hair, naturally, like really curly hair, like curly Sue, and I mean, it's the biggest compliment ever, so thanks guys, but yeah, I think we just have like a similar vibe and big lips, and they're real, so.
How would you describe yourself back then growing up?
Until I was about 12, I was incredibly shy. The only time I would like have any kind of outgoingness, it's not a word, but fuck it, is when I was on stage. I was very like, didn't trust people. I couldn't really come out of my shell with strangers very easily. And the biggest tomboy you could ever meet. Like, I lived in overalls and my hat backwards, literally. And then when I got into high school, I really came out of my shell, kind of became more of a leader and class clown. But I became very rebellious.
What was the turning point for that?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe it was just like something happened. Like my nana used to tell my mom, you need to teach your daughter some social skills or she's going to have no friends, she's going to have no life. And that was me as a kid, like a little kid. And then when I hit like 13, I just like found my mojo, you know? And I had a great upbringing. My parents are my best friends. I have an older brother who is special needs, who is my best friend as well. So I didn't really have a reason to like act out and rebel. I'm from a really chill, tropical place in Australia. But I loved getting in trouble. Like, it was my favorite thing in the whole world. And I got bored really easily. I hated school.
What kind of trouble were you doing?
I mean, I don't know if we should talk about that. But just like I was usually the one that, if there was something that shouldn't have been done, I was the one that was like, let's fucking do it. You know? Or like, I was the one that jumped first. And I definitely got a reputation for being like a little badass. So, yeah, that's just kind of how it always been. It didn't always end well, but you know what? That's life to me, man. I'm like, I want to feel every color there is to feel, you know? And I want to drown in life. And I think that was what it was. It's just, I always liked to be different and I liked to stand out. And I get to use that now in my music and embrace the things that make me weird and odd, and I want people to fucking do that too. So even though it's been a rough road, I look at it like as an asset, because I think people should be more bold.
What made you feel like you couldn't fit in?
Hang on. Sorry. I was telling you this before, like, no offense to Australia, but I never felt like I belonged in Australia. And I don't know why. I think it was a mindset thing. I always had these grand plans for myself. And I feel like, and I never want to grow up. And I just had these certain things about myself that I was like, I felt like I was alone in that, you know? And I believe in living completely by your own rules, and I believe that there is no right, like, people think there's a way you're supposed to live, and the chronological order of how life is supposed to pan out, and I disagree with that 100%. I think you're in complete control of your destiny, and you get to make your own rules. So when I was a kid, I was definitely, it was an internal thing, because I had friends and I had the best upbringing, I had the best childhood ever. But I always had this this grand thing in mind, and I felt like not many people did, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to run off to the circus, like I told you. So yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I never fit in. Like I said, I'm like my dad. I just feel like I'm a bit of a pirate.
Mm-hmm. And then after high school, did you go to college or did you move straight here or what was it?
I moved straight here. I did not go to college. I just jumped right into it.
So you moved here when you were like 18 or
17, 18, yeah. I came here to act, and music just kind of took the lead. It was not shit never goes the way you plan, you know? And I never thought I'd be a singer. I just never thought I'd be a professional musician. It was never my plan. But thank God it happened.
Yeah. So then you just, since then, were like starting to write songs, or you never did before that?
No, I always wrote. I wrote a lot of poetry as a kid, and it wasn't until I moved here and really got into my music that I was like, yo, I could like do this for real. Like I could write for real.
Was there a turning point that you realized that?
No, there wasn't. It just kind of merged. It just kind of happened. I know people have like moments when they're like, that's when I this and that's when I this, but it's kind of a blur for me. It just kind of, I'm just along for the ride, you know, and it just was, it was just what was meant to happen. I have my own dance. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm miserable. And I was, a couple years ago, I was making music that I hated. Miserable, like actually miserable. And I was like, me and my dad were sitting down listening to records one day, and Stevie Wonder was playing. And my dad's like, and I was like, God, this is the shit, man. This is it. This is music. And my dad was like, why are you making this other shit when this is what you want to make? Like, what are you doing, dude? And I was like, you're so right, Daddy. And I literally pressed reset. I left all the people I was working with.
Didn't you like put on Twitter that you were like wanting to work with new people? Yeah,
I did. I just put a tweet. I was working with big people too, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I didn't move countries. I didn't like, change my whole existence to be miserable. So, and it goes against, I do what I want. I always have, and that's my what I represent. It's like I was literally going against everything I believed in. So I put a tweet out. I said, looking for new producers to work with. And these two dudes, a friend of mine, a mutual friend of ours, linked me to these guys, these two dudes, Michael and Colin. And they were like, hey, you guys should link up, whatever. So we had a session, terrible session, shit song. It was just like, it wasn't good. But I clicked with them like so well. Like the vibe was just there. And we were like, let's keep exploring this just because we like get along so well. And they're just like young dudes, nobodies that wanted to be somebody's, And we started spending, 4 days a week together just writing. And fast forward to today, they no longer work together, but one of them, Michael, is my best friend. I'm actually going to be in his wedding. Yeah.
Wow.
First time being a bridesmaid. And he and I have just been, for the last year and a half, all we've been doing is just been stuck in the studio making music, writing. He's been really like a integral part of me kind of finding what I want to say and how I want to say it. But yeah, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing without Michael. So
didn't some of your songs together go to a TV show?
Yeah, so I've done a bunch of sync stuff for this show, 12 Monkeys, which is really cool because a lot of the times when you do sync stuff is like TV and film. You do stuff you're making music that's not really you. But luckily, 12 Monkeys is a time traveling show. So I got to make like jazz records and stuff for it. So it's been, it was really fun actually. I'm on this upcoming season as well, so it's cool.
Oh, that's so cool. When you first started music, or did you already have like a team? And then when you changed like your style, did you change teams, or how was
Yeah, so when I pressed reset and started over and all that, I was alone, completely alone. Michael and I started to really just hone in on what my sound was going to be and what I wanted to say. And in October of 2016, we put a song out in September called Out of Drugs, and it got the attention of a lot of management companies, and it was kind of like a dream situation because I wasn't looking for management. They just came to me, you know. And that, as an artist, you want to know that a manager is going to fight for you in any situation. So seeing them come to you is like a good gauge on that, you know. Mm-hmm. And I took a bunch of meetings, and this management company, Third Brain, was the last meeting I took, and my favorite meeting. And I literally just walked into the office and felt it in my tummy. These are the guys. I haven't even met them yet. These are the guys. Mm-hmm. And yeah, been with them ever since.
Mm-hmm. And how did you come up with the Too Many Hearts to Break?
So, Michael actually came up with that idea. I can't take credit. My whole life have been like a guy's girl, you know. I considered myself one of the boys, even though my daddy would tell me, "No, Kelsey, you're not one of the boys. They all want to have sex with you." And I would say, "No, Daddy, I'm one of the," you know, they don't think of me like that. And, you know, I grew up, and then I realized Daddy was right. And so my whole life I've kind of had this cycle where I'll befriend guys, and then they end up falling in love with you, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what the song's about. Michael was like, "We need to write a song about all the boys that you may have made cry." And I'm like, okay. And he's like, "Too Many Hearts to Break. Let's write a song called Too Many Hearts to Break." It's like, I'm down. So it was my life that Michael kind of created a song out of.
How about for the music video?
The music video, I just wanted like an aesthetic. I just really wanted to like get weird with it, get a little quirky with it. I don't like everything to be perfect and polished. I want, you know, my theatrical, artistic upbringing to kind of shine through my music videos. I think that so many artists today, female artists in particular, everything has to be like sexy and perfect and polished and fine, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get quirky and, you know, rock and roll with it a little bit and not have everything perfect. So we got boys that have never danced in their life and found like this really sick location downtown, and just kind of like, yeah, just kind of had all my favorite people in the room, and we just created something that would go well with the song. Yeah. I don't know.
When did you sign to CAA?
End of last year.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Like a fucking dream, dude.
Yeah.
Because of my acting.
Everything in one.
Yeah, it just like happened, and yeah, it was just like it was a dream. The fact that they believe in me and want to support me and do this thing for the long run, like that's like an artist's, an actress's, a writer's dream, you know? Mm-hmm. And they really believe in what I'm doing, so fuck yeah.
Yeah. Is that something you want to push yourself more into, acting and singing? Like, acting.
Oh yeah, I want to act.
What's the other one?
Yeah.
Dancing, acting and dancing.
Dancing, no. I have no interest in dancing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I dance with my, you know, with my music. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to like, I want to be breaking guitars on stage, not having a full dance break, you know?
Yeah.
But my acting is very big to me, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's my roots, you know? That's what I'm best at. So, we'll see. Music's number one. I just want to make music and make love, you know?
Yeah. And when did you start, like, poker? Aren't you really good at it?
Yeah. Damn, you did your research, girl. So when I was a teenager, we used to have poker games, like 3 nights a week in my house. And my mom would be like, "You're not gambling, kids, are you? Like, you're not using money?" And we're like, "No, we're not." We were. And I got really good at it, and I have this like love of playing poker. But yeah, it's like I used to say, like, if I wasn't a performer, I'd be a professional poker player. But there's still time, you know?
Yeah. How do you think you've grown since you moved to LA, I guess?
Oh, fuck. It's funny, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. It's a nice couch. When you move from home, when you're really young, when you're like not fully developed, your perspective changes immediately. So when I went home for the first time, or the first few times after I moved here, I thought everyone had changed, but I had changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't in that same world anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I was in another world. And I believe that I had to grow up really quickly, in a sense, in like an independent sense, you know? But I just believe that you have to move to change. Like, not move in like countries, move just in the sense of like, in any way, to make any kind of change, something has to move, you know? You can't stay stagnant and change. So, I mean, I don't know, I'm always changing, I'm always evolving. I don't believe that I will be this person in a year. I think I'll be, you know, another evolved version of myself. And I want to never, ever, ever restrict myself from becoming more than what I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in my music, like, I don't want to ever write my best song, because then I'll stop trying to write my best song.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm like, this is it, this is the one, I've just written this is the song. Then the next song I write, I'm not going to try and beat it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's big to me. I want to never, ever, ever write my best song, because I want to be 90 and still trying.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
I love that, yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say have been your biggest challenges so far?
Being away from my family.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. If you have your family near you, appreciate that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Kiss them every single day. Give your mum a big hug. Give your dad a big hug. Give your family a big hug. And tell them how much you love them, because being away from my family is the hardest thing in the world. Like, nothing is harder to me. Money, rejection, all that shit, I can take it. Come at me, bro. But being away from my family, having that support, the people around you, that is the hardest thing. Not having the people around you that you love is the hardest thing in the whole world. But luckily I've got people, I have family here, but I'm talking about my like
your parents,
mum, dad, and brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's also what keeps me going, because I had a sister, and she was killed, and then my brother was, you know, my brother's special needs, and then I was such a troublemaker growing up that my objective, my life goal, my life objective, tunnel vision, is to make my dreams come true and give back to the world and my family, and, you know, create a movement out of my music. And being away from my family keeps me so motivated, like so motivated. So it's like a double-edged sword. Because if they were here, maybe I wouldn't be as motivated, you know?
Yeah. What does success look like to you?
My whole family at the dinner table for once, eating, talking about life, music, healthy, I don't know, man, just happiness. Hey, I think success is doing what you love with people that you love.
Yeah.
That's what I want. So,
what does love mean to you?
Love is the greatest thing in the world and the worst thing in the world. I'm in for it. I sign up for all of that. It's the fuel for everything. I think we need more of it. I really do. I think we need to lead with love more. But it's so painful at the same fucking time, you know? Doing what other people wouldn't do.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's always been who I am. I've always jumped first, and whether it be embracing who I am, doing something that someone else says you can't do or won't do, or making the impossible happen, that's going to be Kelsey Carter when she's dead.
Oh, this is awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
of course.
Bye, guys.